Hello students. Students, today we will discuss a very important topic, and that is population attribute. So let's see what is population and what are the population attributes. First of all, you should know what is population. Population means a group of organisms of the same species. Clear? Group of organisms of the same species which are living in a defined geographical area and can interbreed. Clear? So, population means the group of organisms of a same species. First thing, group of organisms of the same species which are present in a geographical area. They are confined, they are present in a defined geographical area and they can interbreed. So that group of organism will be called as population. Clear? Suppose this is a geographical area, and in this geographical area there are organisms of a same species. So these organisms of the same species will be called as a population. Clear? Now the second thing is that there are certain characteristics of a population. For example, birth rate, death rate, sex ratio. All these are the characteristics of a population. We cannot use this term for an individual. For an individual, we use the term birth, death, but for a population, we use the term birth rate, death rate, sex ratio. So, now we will discuss the characteristics of a population or the population attributes. The very first one is birth rate. So, let's see what is birth rate. Birth rate can be defined as number of births in a population. Total number of births in a population with respect to the total number of individual of the population in a year, or we can say in unit time. Clear? So number of births in a population with respect to the total number of individual in a unit time is called as birth rate. To find out the birth rate, we can divide total number of births by the initial population. Clear? So let's see a question. In a pond, there were 20 lotus plants last year. Last year there were 20 lotus plants. So it means that 20 lotus plant is the initial population. And 8 new plants were added by sexual reproduction. Clear? Find out the birth rate. So here we have to find out birth rate. So how to solve this type of question? Birth rate is equal to, as I have written, initial population, total birth upon the initial population. Clear? So just remember the formula, total number of birth divided by initial population. So the total birth is how much? It is 8. 8 divided by initial population was 20. The answer will be 0.4 offspring per lotus per year. So this will be the answer. This will be the birth rate. Clear? So just remember what is birth rate. Number of births in a population with respect to the total number of individuals of the population in a year or in unit time. Second is the death rate. Now what is death rate? Just see here. Total number of death in a population with respect to the total number of individuals of the population in a year. That will be called as death rate. To find out the death rate, what we will do? Total number of death divided by the initial population. Here one more question is given. Just see here. If 4 fruit fly died of 40 fruit fly. So initially there was 40 fruit fly and 4 died in a week. So the time is a week. Find out the death rate. So to do this, what we will do? Just see here. Death rate is equal to total number of death, that is 4 divided by 40. So the answer will be 0.1 individuals per fruit fly per week. Clear? So that is the death rate. My dear students, you can get any type of numerical on birth rate or on the death rate. So you should know the formula how to solve it. The next one is population density. Population density means the total number of individuals living in an area. Clear? Total number of individuals present in a unit area. Suppose this is an area and these are the individuals which are present in that area. So how many individuals are living in that unit area? That will be called as population density. There are various methods to find out the population density. It is written in your NCERT, and these are the total number method, biomass cover or percent cover, indirect count, your relative density. So first of all, see what is the total number. This is one of the most easiest method. What we will do here? Here we will count the number of individual in an area. Suppose there is an area, and if we find out the population density of that by counting the number of individuals, then it will be done by the total number method. Clear? Suppose this is an area and we have to find out the density here. So what we will do? We will count the number of individuals by, and that will become under the category of total number. For example, we have to find out the population density of Dehradun. So how we will do? We will count the number of individuals residing in Dehradun. That will be called as the population density by total number. Next is biomass cover or percent cover method. Now suppose there is an area, and in this area there is a single banyan tree. This example is given in your NCERT, banyan tree. We know that the banyan tree is very huge, and under this banyan tree there are 200 Parthenium. So here we will not use the total number method. Here we will use the biomass cover or the percent cover. It's not easy for us to count the 200 Parthenium. So there we will use the method of percent cover in that unit area by the Parthenium. Now the third method is the indirect count. For finding the number of tigers, or during the tiger census, we use the indirect count method. In this method, we just count the pug marks or the fecal pellets of the tiger. So that comes under the indirect count, where we do not directly count the tiger's number. Clear? Here we will count their pug mark and their fecal pellets. The next one is relative density method, where suppose in a pond there are number of fishes. So it's not easy for us to count the number of fishes. So there what we will do? We will count the number of fish in one trap. Clear? So there we will use the relative density method. So these are some of the different methods by which we can find out the population density of a given area. Next is the sex ratio. Sex ratio is the next attribute of a population. It is the ratio of females and males in a population. So by this we can find out that how many females is present in per 1,000 males, and that is known as the sex ratio. Clear? So these are the different attributes. In a population we can see that there are individuals of different age groups. So we can classify these individuals of different age groups as pre-reproductive, reproductive and post-reproductive. Let's see here. In a population, we can classify the individual as pre-reproductive. Pre-reproductive means the individual which belong to the age group 0 to 15 years. They will be called as pre-reproductive. Reproductive, the individual from 15 to 45 of years. Sorry, from 16 to, and then post-reproductive, individual more than 45 of years, then it will come under the category of post-reproductive. Just remember, in a population, we have classified the organism into 3 different age groups: pre-reproductive, reproductive and post-reproductive. Now we can see how the population is growing in that particular area. What we can do, we can make a graphic representation of a population, and that graphic representation of a population is called as age pyramid. Just remember, what is age pyramid? Age pyramid is the graphic representation of various age groups of a population. Clear? Now when we draw the age pyramids of different countries, we get the different shapes. So why we are getting the different shape? Let's see here. Suppose in a population, what happens? The pre-reproductive individual are more as compared to the reproductive ones. In a population, pre-reproductive are more than the reproductive ones. So if we will make the age pyramid, we will get a triangular shape. What type of shape we will get? We will get a triangular shape. This type of graph shows us that this type of population is a growing population. For a growing population, we get a triangular age pyramid. First thing. Why we are getting triangular age pyramid? Because the pre-reproductive one is more than the reproductive, and the least one is the post-reproductive. If we will make the age pyramid in context to the India, we will get a triangular pyramid. It means in India, pre-reproductive are more than the reproductive, and the least is post-reproductive. First thing. Second, here the birth rate is more than the death rate. In a growing population, birth rate is more than the death rate, and it shows a positive growth rate. The growth rate here is positive. Clear? So the very first age pyramid is the triangular pyramid, where the pre-reproductive is maximum and post-reproductive is the least. Here the population is growing because the birth rate is more than the death rate, and it shows a positive growth rate. Clear? The second one we will see, when the pre-reproductive and reproductive is almost equal, then we will get what? We will get a bell-shaped age pyramid. So bell-shaped age pyramid is obtained when the pre-reproductive and reproductive is almost equal. Now this type of population will be called as stable population. It's neither growing, neither it is declining, it is stable. So such type of population will be called as stable population, because here birth rate is equal to the death rate, and here growth rate is almost 0. Clear? Why the growth rate is almost 0? Because birth rate is equal to the death rate, and that type of population will be called as stable population. The third one is where the pre-reproductive is less than the reproductive. So here we will get an urn shape. This shape is known as urn shaped, and in highly developed countries like Japan, we will get this type of age pyramid. So when pre-reproductive is less than reproductive, we will get urn shaped. Here we can see that there is negative growth rate. Why there is negative growth rate? Because birth rate is less than the death rate. If birth rate is less than death rate, so obviously we will get the negative growth rate, and this type of population will be called as declining population. So this was all about the population and population attributes. Thank you.